Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Season 2 of the Captain's Chat. My name is Joe Delagrave. I'm one of the captains at USAWR. My guest today is great friend of the show. Just kidding. He is the show. It's Coach Gumbert. And so we're going to get talking, obviously, start of the new year, talk resolutions, goals, excitement, anticipation for the year ahead, and hopefully talk some things about what we learned about 2020. So I know for a lot of us, we're glad it's behind us, and it was a long year, but hopefully 2021 goes your way. Whatever goals, resolutions, desires you have for it, I hope that you achieve them and you do great things here in 2021. Real quick, if you ever want to be a part of the show, be a guest on the show, reach out to me via email, text, mail. Send me a postcard, maybe a telegram, something like that, and love to have you on. So that'd be great. Any questions, comments, definitely put them up. Just like our boy Sean Meredith, the boss is back is right. So without any more rambling on for me, let's rock and roll with Coach Gumbert. What's up, G?
Hey, how's it going, Joe?
Good. It's going well. How are you doing? What's up
I'm
in
doing.
the Gumbert Talk today?
It's another day of circus and fun here at the Gumbert household. We are still on break from the holidays, and so the twins are having the time of their lives and running crazy, and we're just trying to hang on and enjoy as much of it as we can.
Yeah. Do they go back next week?
They go actually back tomorrow. Tomorrow, school begins
Okay.
tomorrow. So.
We care about Wisconsin, or we care about education a lot in Wisconsin, so they went back right away after the holiday. But they're obviously virtual, so is what it is
Yeah.
there. But, man.
It's I think the virtual side of everything, from what we do, but even more importantly to the people that surround us, has just changed how we probably will do everything moving forward in some ways, and it's very revealing to see how people adapt. Our kids have done a really good job of being able to just to adapt to this change and be able to work with it. So it's a new technology for a lot and a new world for us all.
Yeah, speaking of that, with the year at home, we're not used to being home this much that we would just were the last 9 months. And so, man, like it was a gift to be home and to be able to spend time with the family. But how was it? What were the highs? What were the lows? What did it look like?
Well, we figured it out one time that this has probably been the most I've been home in over 25 years.
Yeah.
And big reason why is in those 25 years, we've just been doing rugby, in some shape or form. And it has been, I mean, as challenging and odd as the pandemic has been to so many, it has been quite a blessing and very revealing to what our partners, our wives, do for us in maintaining the home front when you have kids. And
Yeah.
there's so much that I was just never uh, around to see because we were off somewhere, and to be able to be a part of that has been it's been really awesome, and to just share as much as I've been able to share with the kids. I wouldn't make any excuses for. I've been blessed to be able to have that opportunity. So.
I mean, you said it best right there. Our wives are superstars, and it's no joke. And when we're usually at rugby, and I'm echoing. I'm sorry about that. But when we're usually at rugby, we are. We say we wear many hats, but we're usually not wearing a hat that has dad on it when we're on the court. You got the hat of coach, I got the hat of player, and we're kind of laser focused like that. So it's been nice to kind of build that foundation, for sure.
It really is. I mean, it's you come off the court and you check in to make sure that everybody's still there and the house is standing sometimes. And I know the evenings are filled with like meetings, and I've heard this before that while you're trying to have a conversation, I'm constantly asking, hey, I need you in a meeting, and you're trying to tell your wife or your partner or your friend, it's like, hey, I got to go. Coach is telling me I got to go. And it's very different. We speak about our worlds like families in some ways, and the family that we have here is at our homes is our foundation and our base, and then the family that we have with our rugby family is it's just an extension of that. And with that, it is so important that trying to find that balance between the two, but in finding that balance, understanding what it is that we're trying to do for both of those groups. I think it's really important, and something that the pandemic has exposed is how important it is to have balance in both of those groups, because we went from being together sometimes twice a month for an extended period of time with our rugby team to nothing at all. And that's the first time that ever has occurred, for many of us. And it's definitely been a challenge, to be able to have that relationship be like it is when we're together. It's definitely been a challenge. And so
Yeah, speaking of those challenges, and it's like a broken record. I've talked a lot about it. You could only say so many times that we need to do this, we need to do that, or whatever it be, and it's been ongoing and ongoing and ongoing. And it's like, man, what has this taught you? We talked about it maybe in May, what it taught you, but now 6 months later, past 7, 8, what's it taught you about how to coach during a pandemic? How to coach um, without being present in like a training camp?
I think so much of the times that we were together, March 2020. Is that you or me?
You, me. There you go.
I think so many of back to many of those times was what were some of the things that made us successful, and a lot of those things were um, like the relationships that we build as as a team, and that chemistry that is developed both on and off the court is so vital, for a successful team. When that component of being away from each other is taken away from you, it's very, very revealing. And I think I alluded to this a little bit earlier. Is that that need to be present in whatever shape or form is very important, and not to just put this part of our identities with rugby up on a shelf and just leave it, but it needs to be nurtured. It needs to be, it needs to continue to grow, and in ways that we did it. I mean, early on, I mean, we had game show nights, had nothing to do with uh, what we were doing, so to speak, but it had everything to do with maintaining those connections, maintaining that synergy between us, because there's everybody knows how to bounce a ball, everybody knows how to make a pass, and hopefully everybody will still remember how to push when we're finally back together. But the other part of that is like keeping that synergy of like understanding, that this person's there for you, and this team is behind you, has been huge. And I mean, we've gone through a lot besides the pandemic. We went through social injustice and, letting people know that you're there for them, you got their back. And it's been a, a chance if you took it for growth. And I'm proud of a lot of the things that we've been able to accomplish just as a team and being there for each other and standing with each other. Um, the pandemic has just been so revealing in that, I think the best way I can say it is we really weren't meant to be alone. We were meant to be together.
Oh yeah.
And it is huge when something's been taken away from you, how much you crave it. I mean, to a person, I know that you could ask on this team, it's like, are you ready? And it's like, yeah, where? Doesn't matter when, time, whatever, let's go. And that's how important it is for everybody. So those are just some of the thoughts that I had, coming away from this. So
Yeah, yeah. The peanut gallery is giving you a good time here with Sean saying boss looks like Waylon Jennings.
yeah.
Who we'll give a couple comments to. We're not gonna put him on your locks. He hasn't came on the show yet. Good old Chuck French business there, but the Wayne's World Suck Cut newbie. Nah, he's just talking Bash Brothers. You can say it one time, and then okay. Huge head of lettuce. Huge head of lettuce.
Exactly.
Francis, it's good to be back. I'm hoping you're doing well. Put in the comments. Anyone else have a what's Gumby's haircut look like type of thing? His daughter is threatening to put some bows in it. Maybe put some maybe braided a little bit, something like that.
Here, let's give him the look.
Yeah, give him the look there. I think Mandy's the one that said the Big Lebowski. She's in the Big Lebowski.
Yeah, she said I look like the dude.
Yeah, the dude
from the Big Lebowski. It is actually it started with back in March, April. One of our athletes, Jake Daly, grows his hair out and then cuts it and donates it, I believe, to others. And Coach going with the dreads, and so. But part of that is I said, Jake, I tell you what, I said, I won't cut my hair until we're together again. This is what it looks like when you haven't been together for 9 or 10 months. And it's crazy, but it's, I grew up in my dad was a master sergeant in the Air Force. And I actually used to have like a flat top until I was about 10. And to have my hair this long it's crazy. It's been long once, but not this long. And yeah, I don't know how much longer that we can keep this pandemic up because I need to get a haircut.
Yeah, it's got to stop. Mandy, there's no lying on the show. A lot of wisdom in the gray hair. Yeah, absolutely. What funny enough question coming from your wife, but when is it time for you to go back to camp? I don't know if she's kicked me out of the house right now on the show, but it sure sounds like it. Can you talk to us a little bit about what camp looks like, what rugby looks like moving forward in 2021?
Yeah. Sure. Obviously, if it is within our ability to get back together tomorrow, we would be back together as soon as possible. We're using the science behind this in making this determination. We have a very strong committee filled with practitioners and therapists and as well as doctors that are giving incredible guidelines and just ways to keep us safe in this era. And we've listened to them from day one. It is our hope that we're going to be able to get back together this month. That's the plan. And moving forward, we'd be going back on a very regular basis. it's to that end, it's like, when, I get this competition, or I get this question as much as you do. It's like, when's your first competition and where's it going to be? And I mean, those are so many areas that we don't have any control over. It's frustrating. I mean, you asked this earlier, Joe. It's like, um, you know, what has the pandemic taught you? Is like, there are a lot of things that we can't control. As much as we've been able to control things in the past, and train and practice and do all this stuff, it is there's a lot of stuff that we just can't control. I mean, a quick analogy is like when we were going to go play in Colombia, in Bogota, in for the American Championships.
Yeah.
We actually were training with mask on when we were preparing for that. So I mean, wearing a mask for us has never been something that's new. It's something that we tried, and we've always tried to plan for, the unexpected. And nobody saw this. And I mean, obviously, nobody was prepared for this. If you looked at numbers in June and said, "Oh, this is bad," and it is bad, and then you look at December and you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is worse." So where do you go? But you have to live. You can't just exist. You have to plan to be able to live, and that's what we've been doing since day one, and that's where we're going with it.
Right on, right on. No, I think that's 100% there. Kind of moving gears here a little bit and talking a little bit about the sport. We've watched a lot of film. We haven't got to play in a long time. With more film than I'd probably care to ever watch. But watching that, Ian Blundell, thank you for your question. We've talked a little bit about this on the Captain's Chat and previous episodes, which you can find on the USAWR Facebook page. But other sports have made real changes to make sport more exciting, safe, attractive. We've talked a lot about making it more exciting, making it more attractive. Is there anything that we change to make it more safe?
Well, I think the obvious concern with our sport is like the collisions that we have, and you know back in the day when we played in our everyday chairs, there was a lot of concerns. The wheels are flying off, and there's so many different things that could happen. But with the advancements in manufacturing and engineering, to make things safer for us. I mean, you look at manufacturers like Vesco and Melrose and RGK, and they put a lot of time into finding ways to keep us safe in the sport. And I think that's a big thing for us. But I think the where and if you look at how we can make the sport safer is probably from a standpoint of looking and seeing what's going to be our top end as far as function that we let in our sport on the Paralympic variant, if you will. I mean, if we stay where we're at, I think that we're pretty close as far as functionally not putting ourselves at a risk, because if we put like I'm not paras, but I mean, you put guys with much more function out there, the speed's going to increase, the hits are going to be harder, the spins will be bigger, and I think at that point, we're going to put ourselves in the potential to have more injuries out there on the court.
Yeah, I mean, you're not looking for injuries, right? But like at the same time, that's probably what makes it attractive. Aoki falling all over the court, Riley doing the same thing. I mean, you look at college football, and kids are getting taken out of the game because they're quote unquote targeting when they're just trying to make a routine tackle. You saw it in the Ohio State Clemson game where one of their best linebackers gets a targeting call. He's out of the game in the second quarter by making a football move. And so it's one of those things like, is it making it less attractive, trying to be more safe, or vice versa? And do you sign up for it and play it? there's a lot there that seems like it's,
So let me ask you, what do you think the most dangerous play is in our sport?
it's at the goal
Or
line.
is it a spin? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say the most dangerous play is at the goal line, unnecessary hitting at the goal line
Mhm.
from behind, where someone that would probably be our um, undefensible receiver type of thing or whatever, or like you can't protect yourself, unprotected type thing, and that's probably the biggest spot to get hurt. Besides, you're gonna get fingers bent, you're gonna fall down and hit your elbow or whatever it would be. But some of those that are just kind of more vicious, where yeah,
I really think that you start looking at the classification in this too. We talked about the high end, but I've seen the low end get just destroyed in tournaments where, like, you have somebody that's a point 0.5, that's a female that's playing as a 0, or maybe you have a smaller point 0.5 that's out there on the court, and with rule changes and whatever, it is, let's move this player out of the way. And I mean, I've seen some punishing hits on low pointers that could really. I mean, I understand the game. It's a contact game. Smaller people are, they're up for getting beat up pretty bad. So
there's no doubt about that. Mason, we're not changing reaching. We're not changing reaching. Stop doing
good
that.
gracious, stop. Swipe or no swipe.
Come on, Boonch. Boonch likes to reach. He likes to get his little nuggets in there. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What when the time happens when we get back to camp,
Yeah.
what's kind of your mindset as a coach to get us back to the level that we were playing at, get us back to get your team ready to compete again? Are you looking for certain things? Are you doing an eye test? What's like the biggest thing you haven't been able to do that you want to implement at a camp?
Well, where we left this, we were probably 5 to 6 months out, and we were starting to put polish really on what we had. We knew we had a good product, and we had some really strong lines. We just got back from GB and had some success there playing, and then
Yeah.
with Corey and Ray, and just been able to take some good steps with both of them, and hadn't even been able to really expose Liz and Bunchy at this point. But it was, we left with a known product, and so the first thing is I mean, honestly, first thing is I just want to hug everybody because I miss them. And I think that's going to be a very big component going into this camp, is the emotional release for some of the people to be able to just see each other and, you know, take that moment and appreciate it for what it is, and not take it for granted again. And but from that is being able to maintain that energy level, and throughout the week, because or the weeks, we don't know if we'll be there a week or 10 days, or who knows. But the other part of that is being able to um, get something every time that we're on the court, and be able to get as much as we can when we're off the court from you guys. And um, that is really the biggest thing, is to do stuff like that from a managing the moment, if you will, kind of
Yeah.
play. The other part is on the court stuff, is checking back in to see if all these things that we talked about in these months we are able to apply. Going through the strategies, and going through the mantras of, do this and do that, to see if we've taken it from a place of theory into application. And so I think that's going to be the big thing from this. And then overall, looking at the fitness and the health during, but even more so afterwards, of where we are, and be able to say, okay, this is where we are moving forward. Because I feel like we left us in a great place in March, and so I'm hopeful that obviously things do change, but I'm hopeful that we're able to get back in and pick up pretty close to where we were before.
Yeah, Dave Mengen comes up with a great question. And do you know what level other Tokyo qualified countries are training together, and is the disparity with what we're able to do right now going to be a significant hurdle, or do you think there'll be enough time to catch up and regain that synergy you talked about earlier? It's a great question. I think it's something that everyone kind of looks and see, like you try to have the blinders on because everyone's situation is different, kind of like same ocean, different boat type of mentality. But and I know for me as an athlete, like you kind of want to be focused on yourself because you can't, like you said before, you can't control some of those things. But at the same time, we're human. What are some of those thoughts you've had with other countries being able to practice or train, and what kind of significance does that have?
It drives me nuts. I mean, not it's not being able to control. Is really, if you
Yeah,
look at the granular level, is what it is. It's not being able to control that moment. I mean, I am grateful and thankful that the people around this globe that are able to train are able to do it. I mean, it's um, to be able to see a team like New Zealand that their country has been able to manage this in different ways, but be able to allow them to go out and train and push and be able to get those moments that we haven't been able to do yet is huge. I mean, nothing that we're going to do on video is going to replace being on the court. We can gain things, but it won't replace that moment on the court. And we said as players and athletes that one of our crown jewels that we've always had is the league. Because
yeah,
when we were at camp, we're in the league, right?
100%, yeah.
And the league is just in a tough spot where they're at, and we look at that and say, okay, now we've lost that, and so it's like, what else can you come up with? And it's like the creative side of this and trying to virtually replicate and duplicate and fill in the blank of being able to get on the court as close as we can. We've exhausted it. We don't stop trying, but I mean, we have really pushed our limits, and more so, we've pushed our resources because there are things that are out there that are just beyond our reach virtually that we just don't have the finances to be able to
Well,
do.
yeah, and to that end, I mean, I think it comes back to, if you don't have control, what do you have? You got to have faith in your players.
That's
For
it.
me, I got to have faith that some of the other guys are going to be able to get what they're supposed to get done. And so they're living across the country or whatever it is, and they're getting their work in. So being able to stay in touch and see video or pictures of them is good, but that eye test, you go, okay, this guy's been working out. He might be rusty, but he's been working out.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the tough part is taking away
Do
the
you
control.
find do you find as a captain, and I know that we our relationship goes obviously beyond the show, but is like when we go back and forth and talk about accountability, and how strong that accountability can be. If I come across and just say, this person didn't do this, and you know, you're going to do laps or you're going to do whatever you're going to do, but I think there's a huge value and a bigger worth, when a captain like yourself or like a veteran, looks across and says, "Hey, wait a minute. We talk about building this culture. We talk about doing these other things, and you're not pulling your weight, even though you're 2,000 miles away from me. I can look and see, you know, the eye test on a video
Yeah.
that you're not doing what you saying you're doing, and holding people accountable is just that. Whether you're together or whether you're apart is still vital in that team culture. What do you think that with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% right, and I think building that foundation first, is important, and we've seen that because I think if you have a kind of an unsettled foundation or a weak foundation, and then you go through something that we've just went through, the chemistry is not there, the trust isn't there, and it's even hard now. And I think we have a great foundation throughout the organization, but even right now, it's tough because you don't get to control it or see it as much as you want to. But I think there's a brotherhood there and a sisterhood with Liz, and being able to have faith that they're getting what they need to get done. So then when we do get to hit the ground running, we're able to put in the work.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where it's at. Also, Mason, do not listen to these guys. Don't listen to them. Reaching isn't a lifestyle. I mean, especially when Judge Pate is
I'll wait.
Especially when Judge Pate's roughing at camp. It's definitely, man, you step in the gym, you get called for a foul for reaching. But it's like, yeah, you also can't see everything from the half court line, Frenchie.
That was awesome.
But no, I think it's the significant. I appreciate your honesty with that answer, with going like it drives you nuts seeing other people, because it drives. I think it drives everyone nuts. I mean, it's just like you see the other kids playing on the playground, but you can't play, and it's like, well, why? And
yeah.
But at the same time, hope, having faith that you've put in work, you've done the work, and done everything that you can do in your control, and then when we get rock and rolling, we'll be able to work. But over the course of the year is fair enough. Over the course of the year, mental wellness has been a big topic of a discussion. And I think for everyone, especially with our community within the USWRA and USAWR and disabled community in general, is it's, and some of those stereotypes or some of those accessibility issues, or is comes up. And what are your thoughts on that? Because I think you're going through this pandemic, and then you're not sure if you're going to get sick or not because of your disability, or what it looks like, and then you get what a lot of us have is community taken away. And how do you kind of get through that? I think we've done a good job, and you've done a good job. We talk a lot about it, but maybe for some people that are listening that haven't been talking about it, what do you have for them? Maybe being able to give them a couple tips of advice with getting through some of that.
You know what, Joe? It's real simple for me. It starts with my faith, my family, and my friends. Those three. I mean, that's my foundation, and I don't steer from it. I run to it. And I will tell you that when this first happened, the day the earth changed or the world changed in March, I remember sitting in Alabama because I drove there from Texas.
Right.
And I remember going, am I going to be able to make it back home before they close a border somewhere in between here and there? Because nobody had any answers. And it was just, you saw Tom Hanks and he got sick. And then I mean, sitting in a room with the team watching basketball, they were canceling basketball. And then we're canceling, all this stuff. And we're like, holy cow, how bad is this? And people were looking and going, hey, can I change my flight and maybe drive home, kind of thing, because it was an obvious concern. And I think the things that we look at in those times when we're worried, we're concerned, we're afraid, we're anxious, is the element of not understanding and knowing, lack of knowledge. The more that this has gone on, obviously we've been exposed to so much. And for me, you hear the thing. It's like, well, if you don't want to freak out, don't turn on the TV. And one of the biggest things for me is to be able to empower myself with knowledge, right? Is get a good, concise place where you can get um, great information, and it's as good as it can be, so you can empower and make good decisions. The second part is like, you got to turn the noise off, because if you just kind of isolate and leave that noise on, it'll overwhelm you. And I'm guilty of it. I used to just sit and have the news on in the background, and I just can't do it anymore. I mean, it's the news is just like so overwhelming at this point in so many different ways. And but the other part is twofold. Is one is it's okay to be in a place where there's a lot of uncertainty, and you don't you're how do I want to say it? There's a lot of uncertainty, because if you find yourself as a person, an athlete, or anybody in that place, is finding a way to be okay in that place, that that anxious place, and know that you're going to be all right, because you've been able to uh, go through it for 10 months. I mean, it's like somebody says, well, there's a new strain that's coming out. Okay, we've done this for 10 months. We know how to kind of work within this. It's not new. It's not as scary as it was before. And then I think the last thing is be able to take care of yourself. Go out, you know, I'm not saying meditate. I'm not saying anything like that, but go out and be outside. Get some vitamin D on you. Go out, push, go out, walk, go out, train, do something for yourself, so that when you come back, you feel like you got a little bit of accomplishment, even if it was just one small thing that you can look back and say, I accomplished something today. It's important.
Yeah, you're totally right. And just on that, coach's number is 55. No, I'm just kidding. But no, like seriously, reach out if you have issues with with mental health. It's a serious subject, and I think it's a time where a lot of people have went through a lot of things, and they might not have a support group. They might not have that family or friends or faith, and definitely reach out. There's a community that wants to help you, and definitely reach out for that. As we're getting close to wrapping up, thank you so much for your candidness. And as we're getting close to wrapping up episode 1 of season 2, here is talking through what you're looking forward to for the year. I know we still are kind of going through some hurdles and what everything looks like, but it looks like from all articles that have been brought out, Tokyo 2020 for the Olympics and Paralympics is going to happen. And so the anticipation of that, what are you excited about? What are you excited about when you get your team back? What are you excited about with being able to train and head into the Paralympic year?
So many things, man. It's an emotional thing. It truly is an emotional thing right now for me, because I've missed something that's been so much a part of my identity for so long, that to be able to see those people is huge. I mean, to be on court again after not being on the court for 10 months, man.
Yeah.
I just will not take those kinds of things for granted. And I did. I'm first to say it. I took it for granted, because it's like, you're in the middle of it and you're grinding and you're doing all these kinds of things. And it's the moment. We don't, we say a lot. It's like, what is the thing you want to hear for the team? And I always tell people, play the anthem, because that means we've won and we're on top of the podium. And that's important, but it's the journey. If anybody who's gone through this 4-year cycle, it's about the journey and all the memories and all the hard work and everything else that you put into it. So I'm looking forward to the journey. Always have, those moments where Lori B has set out cookies for us after a 3-hour training session on the seventh night we're there, or whether it's waking up early so that we're making sure people are getting early down in the lab, and or maybe it's just those quiet moments where we can have some one-on-ones and saying, this is how you're going to be a better athlete, and this is going to make you a better man, better person. And I miss those. I miss those so much, and
Yeah.
I look forward to that part of the journey, and even more so, I look forward to Tokyo 2021, to being able to show what we had worked so hard for the past 4 years. Because to a person, I think that uh, we did, and we continue to give unselfishly to be the very best um, team that's out on the court.
Yeah, ditto, ditto. Well said. Got a couple fun questions here to wrap it up. Number
Yeah.
one, what coach have you seen during this pandemic wear the mask the best? There's been a lot of coaches that have went with the bandana style, like
Oh,
Gator, that they can drop it down, or like I know that they have those mesh see-through ones that the coaches are wearing a lot.
yeah,
What,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think Gundy for me, coach for OSU.
Oh, Oklahoma State. Yeah.
Yeah, Oklahoma State. He actually has a mullet, and when he wears his uh, bandana, I mean, literally, he looked like he's straight out of a Western movie, dude. He looks like he's coming into town, and he's raiding the bank. I mean,
Yeah.
he's probably worn it well. As I would say, he's one of my top three.
What about Georgia coach Kirby Smart? So he's got a get back coach that makes
Yeah,
$450,000 a year. He's his head strength and conditioning coach apparently, but he holds his belt during the game, so he doesn't go out on the field. And I know, like our assistant coach Sue Tucker, high performance manager Mandy, they always joke that they need a fishing pole for you sometimes when the calls don't go your way. Like, is that going to be? We're going to need that a little bit even more now. Like when you're getting excited going out there, and it's like, I mean, because that guy was holding on for dear life. Like if he lets go of Kirby, he's gone. What do you
well,
think?
yeah. Well, number one, it depends if I have the smart drive brought to you by Permoville. Uh, on in the back on, and I double tap it on my way out on the court. And there's a chance I could drag maybe Sue out there with me, but I doubt that I'm going to get Frenchie or Bob. They're going to probably be able to hold me. They're going to get the hold back on me, but I think
We'll be too busy dancing down at the end.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, the people of Japan did love Charles French. They
That
appreciated his moves and his grooves for sure.
it was
But
mutual. Mutual. What do you think? Do you think Tom Herman does a good job with any of that, or is it too soon? Or the French?
I think Coach Herman does a lot of things right, and it's that time of year where a wise man told me that when coaches change jobs, they what was the word that it's like the wives are moving,
The wives are moving. The coaches are relocating.
coaches are relocating. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So there's I think that's very true, and it's I really appreciate our staff because they make it fun. I mean, they really do, and
It's
uh,
yeah. Like Bobo just said, that's what we do. Absolutely.
yeah, I don't I will say this: if we haven't had one competition before um, before we get to Tokyo, and I mean that's around the world, that means the referees haven't made a call since March of 2020.
Oh man, I'm telling you.
You know that they're going to be just as rusty as we are, and so they're going to is
Coach. No,
oh, yeah.
any of those reps that are listening or watching, they all love the Captain's Chat. You guys, I'm sure you guys are doing a great job refereeing your families at home, giving them technicals,
Teeing them up, man.
yeah.
Flagrants, yeah.
Now, your wife Kelly said it best that you honestly tell how much you miss us. We miss you as well, Coach. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you to all the wives partners up there of our program as well. As we kind of go into a season that hopefully will be, sounds kind of funny, but hopefully we'll be away from you for a large part of the year, ramping up to Tokyo 2020.
Yeah.
But no, we really appreciate it, and shout out to all you guys in the community. I think we all miss each other, miss playing rugby. Hopefully, we'll be back on the court sooner than later. For more information on USAWR, head over to usawr.org or USAWR on all of the social media platforms. You can check out Coach Gumbert over there too, where he's in. His number again is 55. No, I'm just kidding. But really appreciate having you on, Coach. Thank you so much. Everyone, have a great day. If you want to be a guest on the show, send me a little blurb of what do you want to talk about. We'll try to get you on. That would be awesome. And we'll be back next Tuesday. And so Tuesday at 11 o'clock, and we'll have episode number 2. Coach, thank you so much. Appreciate it.